Hey everyone, welcome to my studio. I have just picked up this new substrate. I really couldn't resist. It is a sunflower. I got it at Hobby Lobby and it's part of their fall line. Right now we are at the end of July and this was available at a discount as part of their fall line, which seems absolutely crazy. So one thing about cutouts that I don't like is that they seem very, very crafty and less arty. And I love how this is already drawn on there. I'm going to use it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to elevate it. And I'm going to do that by putting it on a base. And I really like how it's going to pop out. That background's really going to fall behind. I'm going to fill that hole so the hole is not a thing. And it's exciting to have something to start with. I'm not sure how I'll put it. I might just put it smack in the middle because it is an asymmetrical design. So I'm going to use the usual Apoxie Sculpt with beads and then Weldbond to put on the petals. Likely I will use the feather cut shape that I've used in the past on the petals. And the background I will probably leave light. But before I can do any of that stuff, I need to prime this. And I think I am going to paint this frame. So this is a liquid art panel. I've used them in the past. It's made by Pebeo. You get them at art supply stores like Blick, or you can get them online. I like it because it has a lip and the glass fits in there beautifully without hanging over the edge. So that's what I'm using here. And then this will be here. Can't wait to get started on that. I ended up priming this with one coat of Kilz and then adding a layer of white acrylic paint on top of it. Here are two little mosaics that I've made using embroidery hoops, sort of in a cross stitch type way. And the third one, I've just been experimenting with these and with the materials. For this one, I've taken it out of the hoop and I'm trimming it. And I'm going to do something similar. I just wanted to see how this would hold up. I would say that right off the bat, I can tell that it's going to need more reinforcement. It's nice and flat here, but the back is a little rough. More reinforcement on the back. It's going to need another layer. I can tell it's just a little bit too thin. Whereas this one, the frame actually helps to support it and keep it taut like that and makes it stronger. This one without that is going to need a little bit more on the back. But I'm going to go ahead and make the front, I think, first, and then when it's all set up, because I'm using thinset on the front, and that will help to make it stronger, but I think it's still going to need a layer on the back. Anyway, so here's my new substrate. I just cut it out, and I'm going to use the same little pieces of glass. I'm going to make another flower, and I wanted to sort of have an evaluation of these two. First of all, I really like how this one turned out. I think that the cut smalty looks excellent. But like I was saying, it was a lot of work to cut the smalty that small. This one almost seems like one of those crystal dot projects that you do where you just pick up the piece and you put it on a pattern. And so that aspect of it, I wasn't totally thrilled with. I do like the addition of the small pieces just to give it a little bit of sparkle. So I put a little bit more in between and I added some on the leaf just to make it interesting. So I'm going to use the same combination of little tiles and these little beads, but I'm going to do it on this different substrate. Here I go. Instead of using the tiny tiles or even these beads for this mosaic, I'm doing another sunflower, by the way, I have got some micro beads. These are used for doing fancy fingernails, I believe. And I have some glass chips, which these might be painted, I'm not sure. But for this application, I think it's going to be fine. So I'm going to use these for the center of the sunflower. That'll give me a little bit of room to play with and a little bit of range and color. And then I will be making the petals a little more like this. Because I'm going to just be sprinkling these on, essentially dumping them over the thin set, I thought I'll put that on this tray so I can save any extra bits. And I'm just doing this one color at a time so that I can save the bits. You may be wondering, that's very pretty and everything, but what exactly is it? And I feel like I'm in the same boat. I made this. It doesn't really have a frame. I don't think there is a way to frame it. It's pretty rough on the edge. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it. I can't even use it as a coaster, but it was a good exercise, and it was, I was just trying out something different and wanted to see how it would turn out. And so I'm glad that I did it, but I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it now. These other ones, I kind of like the look of how they're in this little hoop. So I probably won't cut this one out because I'm not sure what to do with this now that it is cut out. But I'll figure out something like I always do. It just might be down the road a little bit. The other thing about this is that I really kind of forgot how much I hate using thin set with beads. It's just way too messy. Apoxie Sculpt is much, much easier and more precise. So I won't be doing that anymore, I don't think. I keep saying that and then I keep doing it. And then this part where I just sprinkled the stuff on, it's almost like using glitter. I don't know. It's okay. side I sealed with Weldbond, and I am using liquid nails to adhere it onto the base. This is super thick. I don't know how long I've had this glue, but it's barely coming out. This liquid nails was so hard to get out, and it was super stinky. In the end, I managed to get it on and use it for this, and then I threw the rest away. While I wait for that to set up, I'm going to make another pendant. And I had ordered more of these petals, and it came in a mix with these giant ones. So I'm going to make a big Old Mexico zinnia here. There was quite a bit of prep work and waiting around for this to be ready to work on, and now I'm finally starting. I have been starting and sometimes ending my day by making a pendant because it's very satisfying, and that way I'm trying to build up my inventory just a little bit. These florals have been selling pretty well though, so this is what I have currently. And I've listed these on Etsy, but I have a big bezel here, bigger than any of these. And just looking at this one, I think I'm going to do it very similar to this, only instead of the black-eyed Susans, I'm going to use daisies. And instead of the dark blue salvia, I am going to do something lighter blue like that. So that's my plan. And then these are supposed to be impatiens down at the bottom, but I like that pop of pink. But it'll be a little bit lighter than this one with the white in there and the lighter blue. Let me get after it. I just finished piecing the sunflower, and now I'm going to decide on the color for my background, which is going to be sky. I've got this sky blue white streaky, which is option number 1. Then going towards a palette that's a little bit more opposite on the color wheel would be this purpley blue. Equally pale, more purple. Those are the first 2 options. Then I found one, it's the same streaky blue, only this one is more streaky. So a little more dramatic, which this is a dramatic thing, so I thought that was interesting. That's another choice. And I've got some darker blues. I have a clear opal cobalt blue streaky, which is this one. Just nice. It's a nice complement to the vividness of this flower. I think that this is very striking. And then I have one that's more on the baby blue side, and I think I prefer this one. So I'm going to take this one out of rotation. It's too much. Then I have this one, which is just as deep in color, only more solid. And I don't think I like that, so I'm going to take that one out. Next, I have this Yakagani Neo Purple model, which is just slightly mottled. And I'm really leaning towards this one. It's sort of a nice medium blue between the dark and the light. It's going to make the yellow pop, but it's going to go back into the background and let the yellow be the feature, the flower be the feature. So I actually think I'm going to go with this glass. All right, I cut a stem and I drew a leaf on here. I was going to use this glass to put the leaf on there, but I think I want to simplify it. And I'm not going to put that leaf on. I'll just put the stem and then I will fill in with this sky blue. This background last night, so I'm going to be grouting the background with one color. I'm going to use Smoke Gray Spectralock I pre-mixed grout because I have this giant pail of it, and then I'm going to use a custom color for the sunflower. Then the last step I will do is the beads. It's kind of reverse of how I usually work. Usually I do the beads first, and when I go to grout, I have to be super careful around the beads. So this time I can just grout the flower part and not have to worry about the beads, and then I'll put the beads in last. And the beads are my favorite part, so it's kind of nice that it's last. Anyway, here I go with this. I'm using the same finishing tool, only I have cut off the edge, and that is so that I can get in these tight crevices. That's it. Different colors of grout. I'm waiting for them to slake. I used my Rainbow Colorants from Karen Sasine, And I've used the yellow, and I didn't mix it at the full strength. And then I used brick, again, not at the full strength. So I'm just gonna use the brick a little bit right here and the yellow for the rest of it. That's it. Fun part where I get to add the beads on here. I have my beads all lined up from light to dark, and what I'm planning on doing is putting a light part here as if it comes out, and then a bit of a shadow here, and then a bit of a shadow on this part. So I'm gonna use those beads to make this center just as soon as my Apoxie Sculpt is mixed up. Oh, and I'm going with a gray just to lighten it up a bit because my colors are a little bit lighter there. I still need to wire the back of this, but that's putting it together. Thanks for watching. See you next time.